Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's conversation about the topic of cloud computing. My name is James McLean. I am the marketing manager at Elm Responsible Investments, and very happy to be joined by Jai Merchandani, who is the portfolio manager at Elm Responsible Investments. So if you're not familiar with us and what we do, we are an investment fund manager in Melbourne, Australia, with a focus on sustainable and impactful investments. Because of this, we have some core areas that we invest in, such as healthcare and education, sustainable housing and building materials, climate and renewable energy technologies. And also, we're really interested in the digitization of the economy. And that's kind of where cloud computing comes in. And so I'm going to throw to Jai here. So Jai, can you tell us all why Elm has such an interest in the cloud computing space? And also, can you kind of help set up who are the major companies working in this space and providing services?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, James, and thanks everyone. So yeah, we've got quite a big investment in this area because we think that in order for economies to grow and to improve productivity, the digitization of economies and cloud computing, which is a core to that process, is needed, and so that's why we are invested in that space. Um, I think a lot of people have heard about artificial intelligence and what that might mean for the economy, um, but the process of digitization, and that the theme that we're in which we're invested also includes artificial intelligence. Um, so the big players are Microsoft, Amazon, and Google through their cloud computing businesses. But obviously, there are other ways in which investors can get access to this theme. But for today, we're going to primarily talk about those three companies.
And it's true that part of the reason why those three companies are so important and influential in this space is because they've had this ability to, is it hyperscaling? Is that right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, I think everyone's heard of the term cloud, having data on the cloud in this day and age. And that essentially means rather than having data on our own computers at home or in the office, the data sits somewhere in the cloud or somewhere off premise. Um, and so the three companies, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google, we're familiar with a lot of their other businesses, which are e-commerce for Amazon, um, productivity software like Microsoft Office for Microsoft, and the search advertising business for Google. But all three of those companies have a cloud hyperscaler business, which is growing much faster than the rest of their businesses. And so, naturally, investors are really focused in on those businesses for those companies.
So you mentioned that, those, the cloud computing type services of those three businesses are potentially the fastest growing elements of the business. We have recently, in the last week or two, had quarterly reports from all three. And what have we learned from those?
Yeah. So it's it, all three companies did have their quarterly results last week, and they all had a different reaction. So Google was down about 10% on the day. Microsoft was up 3 or 4% on the day they released their results. And Amazon initially started off being down, but then recovered, and I think ended up 5% or so on the day. Um, just a bit of context. If we think about the industry, the cloud computing industry, we've got Amazon, which is the biggest at about 30% market share, followed by Microsoft at about 20, and Google at about 10%. And so over the last few years, Amazon has been losing share, so their growth rates been much lower than the growth rates experienced by Microsoft and Google. Um, And in the most recent quarter, that trend's continued. So Amazon's growth rate has been in the low teens type growth rate and revenue growth, that is. And Microsoft's growth rate, in fact, accelerated from 26% to 29%. And for Google, the growth rate decelerated from mid 20s to low 20s. And I think that's the reason why that deceleration's the reason why Google stock fell 10% on the day. Microsoft, because of their top line acceleration, increased on the day, and Amazon actually recovered during the conference call when they started talking about the increased wins that they had in the December quarter. So Amazon actually missed expectations for the most recent quarter, but when they started talking about the December quarter, which we are in now, they flagged that they won a number of big contracts, which will be supportive to growth in the December quarter and beyond, I guess.
Great. So, as a responsible investment manager, and as we talked at the start, we're very interested and invested actively in the cloud computing AI space. What's our position? Are we in all three? Or are we in none of them? Where are we?
Yeah. So, I mean, as you said at the start, we are invested in the theme of digitizing economies. And so all three companies are really interesting to us. But as responsible investors, we want to be invested in companies that are impactful across the board, across all their businesses. And so a company like Amazon and Google, and when we think about their other businesses, they don't really align, their sustainability values don't align with ours. Whereas with Microsoft, we like being invested in a company that is developing software for small businesses and driving productivity outcomes. So we are invested in Microsoft, and that's one of our largest positions in the global fund. And yes, we're excited about their cloud business, but we're also excited about their office products. And when we think about, so that's on the sustainability side, but even on the traditional investment, if we put a traditional investment analysis hat on, we're looking for high quality companies with leadership in the respective markets. And when we look across across Microsoft, Amazon, and Google, we think that Microsoft is leading the charge. And we saw that, we can see that in the profitability numbers as well. So Microsoft's profit margins for the cloud business is about 40% profit margins, which is incredible. As I said before, the top line growth rate's accelerating. Amazon's cloud business is incredibly profitable as well, and I think it makes up more than their overall profit because they have other loss-making businesses. When we look to Google's cloud business, their operating profit margins are about 3%, and so that's probably because of their lower or smaller scale. And I'm sure that over time, as they scale and grow, their profit margins should expand. But for the here and the now, we think that Microsoft's leading the charge. They're investing heavily in the technologies and driving top line growth and profit. So we think that Microsoft really ticks both our sustainability box and also the investments box as well.
Great. So looking forward, that's kind of a long discussion about where things are at. What are we paying attention? What are we paying attention to going forward? I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but Google's playing a bit of catch up on the AI front, so we expect them to start to catch up next year. Is that right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think Microsoft is leading the charge there in AI. And, last year they were the ones that I guess brought ChatGPT to the world. And
Yep.
now we're all, I'm sure a lot of us have played around with it now. And so AI is becoming incorporated into our everyday lives, and we're becoming much more familiar with it. Um, and so I guess for these cloud businesses, they need to keep investing in their AI functionality and capability, because when you think about AI adoption, a lot of the companies that are looking to implement their own AI into their businesses, they're going to have to train their models, and they're going to have to access the cloud in order to train the models, and to make it work. So we think that for all three companies, that AI is going to be a tailwind for growth. But definitely Microsoft's leading the charge there today, and Google will catch up. But they were expected to release their Gemini um, platform, which is a new large language model, which was expected to drop this quarter, but it looks like it's been pushed out. So they've been investing in this space for many years now, and so I'm sure that it's going to eventually be rolled out. But it seems like everything's taking longer, and so perhaps investors today are going to be disappointed, or have been disappointed by how long that's taking. Um, Amazon, being the biggest in that space, they're enjoying the benefits of being the biggest. So one of the reasons why they said they had such a great quarter in December, or they're having such a great quarter in this quarter, is because of their sheer scale. A lot of their clients, because they already have data with them, they're opting to stick with AWS, or Amazon's cloud business. But with Microsoft, they're said they're leading the charge, and looks like they're continuing to gain on their lead. The other thing that we're looking for is the way in which these companies are going to apply AI to the rest of their businesses. We've spoken about so far today about how AI is going to drive cloud revenue growth for these three companies. But all three companies have different businesses in e-commerce, in search, in productivity softwares, and all three companies are looking to incorporate AI into those businesses. And I think Microsoft's also the most advanced in terms of monetizing that. So they're launching what they call Copilot to their Microsoft Office products. And for, I think, an extra $30 a month, users are going to be able to use AI to help them write reports, search their entire OneDrive, write emails, prepare presentations, develop Excel models, all based on the user's data. So, that's quite, and for $30 a month, which is quite a lot of incremental revenue for Microsoft. But as the user, for an extra $30 a month, that functionality is, I think, quite good value. So I think that they're the most advanced in terms of monetizing that potential as well. So, that's definitely something that I'm looking at in terms of future value for these companies.
Yeah, great. So interesting times and lots to look out for. So
Yes.
we might wrap it up there. Thank you, Jai, for your time. And thanks to everyone who's taken the time to watch this video. Please keep an eye out. We will have more videos like this discussing core investments and industries in which we are invested and interested. And the next topic we're going to be discussing in a couple of weeks is GLP-1 drugs, such as Ozempic and Wegovy and their effect on the healthcare and healthcare technology industry. So please keep an eye out, make sure you don't miss it. Follow us on your respective social medias. We're on LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram and YouTube now. So wherever you're at, give us a follow and you'll keep abreast of that. And if you want to, you can go to our website and sign up for our mailing list. Our website is elmri.com. That's www.elmri.com. Thanks so much for your time. Have a great day.
Thanks.